Imagine standing beside a watering hole in the African savanna. There are no fences between you and the animals, no buildings, no vehicles, just dry grass, scattered trees, and hundreds of creatures that have evolved to recognize danger. Somewhere nearby, a lion is calling. The animals hear it. They look up, but they do not always run. Now replace the lion's growl with something much less dramatic, a human voice. Not a scream, not a gunshot, not an angry shout, just people talking calmly. And suddenly, the animals move. They abandon the water. They disappear into the grass. The strange part is not that animals fear humans. The strange part is that in some places, they fear the sound of an ordinary human conversation more than the sound of a lion. So why would a giraffe, a leopard, or even a hyena be more frightened by a talking human than by one of Africa's greatest predators? The answer is not that humans are stronger than lions. It is that animals may have learned something lions never had to learn. A lion can kill you, but a human can change the entire world around you. In 2023, researchers working in the Greater Kruger region of South Africa designed an experiment around a simple question: what scares wild mammals more, the sound of lions or the sound of humans? The scientists used recordings and played them near water holes where wild animals came to drink. The recordings included lion vocalizations, human voices, and other sounds associated with danger. The human voices were not theatrical. They were not made to sound threatening. They were ordinary people speaking in conversational tones. The researchers then watched what the animals did. Did they remain at the water? Did they become more vigilant? Did they leave? The experiment included 19 mammal species and 4,238 independent trials. Across the mammal community, wildlife was approximately twice as likely to flee from human sounds as from lion sounds. Overall, about 95% of the species showed a stronger fear response to humans than to lions. The species that showed statistically significant differences included giraffes, leopards, hyenas, zebras, kudu, warthogs, and impalas. That does not mean every animal on Earth fears every human more than every lion. It does not mean a lion is harmless, and it does not mean the animals were afraid of human voices in some mystical or supernatural way. It means that in this particular savanna community, human presence appeared to represent a more immediate or more reliable danger than the presence of lions. But why would a calm voice trigger more panic than a predator that is physically capable of tearing an animal apart? The explanation begins with how animals calculate risk. When an animal hears a lion, it is not asking a human-style question like which species is more powerful. It is responding to a pattern. A lion's sound may signal one kind of danger, a nearby predator that may attack, but a human voice may carry a different message. Humans are here, and where humans are present, other risks may follow. A human might be hunting, a human might be carrying a weapon, a human might be traveling with dogs, a human might be approaching in a vehicle, a human might be clearing vegetation, blocking escape routes, or returning repeatedly to the same area. For wildlife, the threat is not always the human body itself. The threat is the enormous range of things humans can do. A lion can chase, a leopard can ambush, a hyena can overpower a weakened animal, but humans can pursue from a distance. They can return tomorrow. They can follow tracks. They can change the terrain. They can bring other humans. They can use fire, traps, boats, fences, engines, and projectiles. From an animal's perspective, the most dangerous predator may not be the one with the largest teeth. It may be the one that is hardest to predict and hardest to escape. This is why scientists sometimes use the term superpredator. The phrase does not mean humans are morally superior or biologically unbeatable. It describes a predator whose effects are unusually widespread and whose hunting behavior can reshape entire ecosystems. A 2015 study of human predators reported that humans often target adult prey at much higher rates than non-human predators, with some comparisons reaching as high as 14 times higher. That matters because adult animals are not just individual bodies, they are the breeding members of a population. When predators consistently remove adults, they can affect the future of the entire species. But this still does not explain why animals would panic at a human voice, even when no weapon, vehicle, or hunter is visible. For that, we need to look at what the voice represents. Sound is one of the most important ways animals detect danger. A lion's roar tells an animal that a lion may be nearby, but a human voice may carry a different message. Humans are here, and where humans are present, other risks may follow. The animal does not need to know whether the person is hunting today, it only needs to remember that human presence has often been associated with danger. This is called a landscape of fear. It does not mean the landscape is literally frightening everywhere. It means animals move through space while constantly balancing food, water, shelter, and the risk of being killed. A watering hole may provide essential water, but it may also expose animals to predators. A road may be dangerous because of vehicles. A forest edge may be dangerous because hunters can see into it. A place where humans regularly appear may become a place animals avoid, even if food is available there. This creates a hidden map inside an animal's behavior. The animal may visit at night instead of during the day. It may approach quickly and leave quickly. It may stop feeding whenever it hears a human. It may choose poorer habitat simply because it is farther from people. The human voice acts like a warning flare, not because every speaker is about to attack, but because the sound has become linked with a long history of consequences. For an animal at a watering hole, this creates a brutal calculation. Water is necessary, but water is also where danger concentrates. If a lion is nearby, the animal may decide to wait, watch, and continue drinking. If humans are nearby, the animal may decide that remaining in the open is not worth the risk. The animal is not necessarily saying a human will attack me right now. It may be saying, if I stay here, something worse may happen later. Lions are terrifying predators, but lions are also familiar predators. Their hunting behavior is constrained by biology. A lion has to get close. It has to choose a target, it has to chase or ambush, it has to spend energy, and if the attack fails, the lion usually cannot suddenly switch tactics and return with a machine, a second vehicle, or a line of traps. Wild animals may have evolved over generations to recognize when a lion is truly attacking and when it is merely passing through. The risk is still real, but it is legible. Humans are different. Human hunting has historically involved patience, coordination, tracking, and tools that allow danger to arrive from farther away. The animal may not see the attack begin. It may only hear voices, smell smoke, notice footprints, or find that familiar habitat has changed. For a prey animal, uncertainty is expensive. If it reacts to every harmless sound, it wastes energy and loses feeding time. But if it ignores the wrong sound, it may die. Natural selection does not produce perfect information. It produces strategies that are good enough, often enough. When the cost of underreacting to humans is high, animals may evolve or learn to overreact. That is one reason the comparison with lions is so revealing. The animals are not necessarily judging danger by physical strength. They are judging danger by the likelihood that the threat will actually lead to death. A lion may be stronger, but the human signal may be more predictive. And this fear is not limited to animals that humans traditionally think of as prey. Some of the clearest evidence comes from predators themselves. In one experiment, researchers studied pumas, also called cougars, at kill sites. The animals had made a kill and were feeding. Then, the researchers played either human voices or a non-predator control sound, frogs. The difference was immediate. Pumas fled in 83% of cases when they first heard human voices. They fled only once, about 6% of the time, when they heard the frog sounds. The pumas also took longer to return after hearing humans. When they did return, the median return time was approximately 20 minutes, compared with about 2 minutes after the frog control. Most importantly, the pumas lost feeding time. Over a 24-hour period, they fed for an average of about 4.6 minutes after human playback, compared with approximately 10.4 minutes after frog playback. That is a dramatic ecological effect. Fear does not have to kill an animal directly to change its life. If a predator abandons food, loses hunting time, or avoids a productive area, human presence can reshape its behavior without a single shot being fired. Now consider what this means. The puma is not prey in the normal sense. It is a top predator. It can kill deer. It can overpower smaller carnivores. But it has learned that humans create an unusual type of risk, one that may continue after the immediate encounter is over. A similar result appeared in Britain in an experiment involving badgers. Badgers are not helpless herbivores. They are mesocarnivores, animals that hunt smaller prey and occupy an important position in the food web. The researchers tested how badgers responded to recordings of humans, dogs, bears, and wolves. The scientists measured several behaviors: how long it took the badgers to begin feeding, how alert they became, how much time they spent foraging, how many feeding visits they made, and how many badgers continued feeding. The human recording produced the strongest disruption. Human voices affected every major measure of feeding behavior. Dog and bear sounds had much smaller effects. Wolf sounds produced no effect in the measures reported by the study. The result was not simply that badgers recognized a predator. Their reaction suggested that humans were perceived as more frightening than the large carnivores the researchers used for comparison. This is important because it shows that the fear of humans is not restricted to the African savanna. Different species, different continents, different ecosystems, and a similar pattern. Human presence can suppress normal behavior. Animals may feed less, move differently, avoid certain habitats, or become active at times when humans are less likely to be present. But if humans are so frightening, why do some animals live beside us, eat our food, and walk through our cities without running away? The answer is that fear is not a fixed switch. Animals learn. They compare danger with reward, and they can become habituated to human presence. A pigeon may ignore people in a city because most people do not chase it. A fox may approach houses because food is available and the danger is predictable. A deer living near a road may become accustomed to traffic, lights, and distant voices, unless a different human behavior appears. This is why the phrase, "humans fear more than lions," must be used carefully. The greater Kruger study was not a test of every animal on Earth. It focused on a specific community of wild mammals in a specific landscape. The results show a strong pattern, not an absolute law. A human voice in a protected savanna may mean hunting risk. A human voice in a city park may mean food. The animal's response depends on experience. It depends on whether humans have historically harmed, chased, trapped, captured, or fed the species. It also depends on whether the animal has an escape route. A fox on a sidewalk may tolerate people because it can retreat into a garden. An elephant at a small waterhole may respond more dramatically because the open space offers little cover. This creates a paradox. Some animals become less afraid of humans because they learn that people are safe. Other animals become more afraid because they learn that humans are dangerous, and both responses can be adaptive. The difference is not whether humans are present.
The difference is what humans have taught the animal to expect. To understand why the human voice carries such power, we need to go back before cities, roads, and firearms. Humans have been hunting for a very long time. The evidence is incomplete, and researchers debate exactly when particular hunting technologies appeared. But the broad pattern is clear. Human predation was never based only on claws and speed. It was based on cooperation, memory, tracking, tools, and persistence. A human group could follow an animal's footprints, predict where it would go, drive it toward another person, throw a weapon, return the next day, learn from failure, and pass the lesson to the next generation. This is a different kind of predation. A lion's body is specialized for the chase. The human body is specialized for flexibility. Our species can change the method without changing the goal. If the prey escapes an ambush, humans can track it. If it moves at night, humans can use fire. If it hides in dense vegetation, humans can coordinate. If it changes its route, humans can remember. The animal does not have to understand every part of this strategy. It only has to experience the consequences. This may help explain why human danger is so difficult to escape. Many predators are limited by their bodies. Humans compensate for physical weakness with technology and cooperation. And as those tools become more powerful, the fear associated with the human presence can spread farther than the human body itself. A voice may mean a hunter, a smell may mean a camp, smoke may mean fire, a road may mean vehicles, a flashlight may mean pursuit. The terrifying thing about humans is that we are not always hunting. It is that animals cannot easily know when we are. When animals fear humans, they do not simply disappear. They change their schedules, they change their routes, they stop feeding, they abandon water, they become active at night, they avoid open spaces, they may move into poorer habitats where food is less abundant but humans are less common. This can create what ecologists call landscape-scale effects. A single human encounter may seem unimportant, but repeated encounters accumulate. Imagine a predator that avoids a valley whenever people are present. Now imagine prey animals changing their movement because the predator has changed its movement. Then imagine scavengers changing their behavior because the predator leaves food behind. Fear moves through the food web. Research on fear of humans has examined effects ranging from mountain lions to smaller mammals, showing that human risk can influence movement and activity across ecosystems. This creates a difficult conservation problem. Protecting wildlife is not only about stopping direct killing. It can also involve reducing disturbance, managing where people walk, controlling vehicle traffic, keeping sensitive water holes quiet, and designing protected areas where animals are not forced to choose between food and safety. But conservationists must also recognize that some animals are becoming habituated to humans. Habituation may allow wildlife to live near people. It may also increase the risk of conflict. An animal that no longer flees may be easier to observe, but more likely to approach roads, farms, garbage, or homes. Fear can protect an animal from people, but too much fear can also force it into worse habitat, and too little fear can bring it dangerously close to us. So why are animals sometimes more afraid of humans than lions? Because humans are not just predators. We are persistent predators, cooperative predators, long-distance predators, tool-using predators, and predators that can return tomorrow, change the landscape, and teach one another where danger was found. A lion can kill an animal, but humans can change the behavior of an entire species. They can make predators abandon food, make prey abandon water, make wildlife avoid daylight, and create invisible borders across the landscape. Animals may obey even when no person is visible. But there is another side to this story. The fear animals feel is also a record of what humans have done. When a wild animal runs at the sound of a calm human voice, it is responding to history, not necessarily one person, not necessarily one hunter, but generations of encounters between humans and the rest of the living world. We like to imagine ourselves as the weak animal that survived through intelligence. From the perspective of wildlife, intelligence may be exactly what made us frightening. because the most dangerous animal is not always the one that can kill you fastest. Sometimes it is the one that can learn, cooperate, remember, and keep coming back. The lion is a predator. The human is a possibility. And in the wild, the possibility of what a human might do can be more frightening than the roar of anything else.